I'm the trash man. I throw trash all over the ring.
The average height of an American male is 5 foot 9.5 inches tall, though Tom Cruise is famously 2.5 inches shorter than this average, yet you'd never know he was a tiny man from watching his movies. For example, Ving Rhames is over 6 feet, and yet he's somehow shorter than Tom in Mission Impossible? How? Is Ving always sitting down? Do they always walk 40 yards apart? But Tom isn't alone on his island of disgusting disfigurement. Mark Wahlberg is 5'8", and Zac Efron is 5'8", and Sylvester Stallone is barely 2 apples high.
Rocco the rum runner rubbed out Rico the rat with his Roscoe for robbing his rum running receipts.
And yet every time they're in a movie, they can somehow look at all the average-heighted people in the eyes. Presumably because filmmakers force them to stand on little boxes to hide that they are grotesque, undersized genetic failures. And God forbid I reveal that the 5'9" Robert Downey Jr. is in fact 3 inches shorter than Chris Evans. I could do this all day. You can be the most handsome, witty, charismatic male on earth, but if you're 1 inch below average height, then tough shit. Hollywood will desperately avoid revealing that awful truth to the audience lest they vomit in the aisles with disgust.
I'm the trash man. I throw trash all over the ring.
Such is the life of a short action star. If shortness is acknowledged on screen, it's as a punchline. It's a hilarious inadequacy that either leads to constant desperate attempts at comedy or a life of crime as a bad guy's sidekick. Movies would have us believe that short people live a life of existential struggle, that they are nothing more than incomplete souls crying out from children's clothes. Do you think this weird prejudice starts with filmmakers or audiences with tender profiles that say under 6 feet need not apply? Would we really refuse to be inspired by or date a hero who possesses every other positive trait on Earth? Courage, humor, charm, muscles, wealth, confidence, sexuality, a positive Counter-Strike KDR, just because they can comfortably ride in the backseat of a Civic? It's not like I'm expecting the hero to solve every mystery and defeat every bad guy with slam dunks, although, now that I'm thinking about it, that sounds like a pretty awesome movie. Less awesome? Good guy protagonists can no longer solely be muscle-bound meat sacks and talk like a moose with a mouthful of peanut butter. They must also hold multiple doctorates in every bullshit science field writers can think of. Indiana Jones has a PhD in archaeology paired with a master's in ripping dicks off with a whip at 12 paces. Even the biggest, dumbest superhero, the Hulk, spends most of his movies as one of the planet's leading scientists. And you just know he's performing complex math calculations in his head while tearing fighter jets in half.
1, 2... 5, 7, 11.
When Transformers 4 needed a nerdy scientist protagonist, it cast the inventor of the Wahlburginator, which, gives women orgasms while working your biceps.
I came up short.
It would be nice to think that the message here is, hey, even nerds can be cool. But these guys don't win by being nerds. In nearly every case, the real heroism comes in the form of a punch to the throat. Remember those Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies in which Sherlock uses his brilliant mind to beat the shit out of guys in shirtless pit fights?
1, 2, 5.
As if he can tell by the speck of paint on a dude's shoes that he'll be super susceptible to temple punches? That was weird, right? But at least it shows him fighting as a hobby, like to get good at it. Yet the BBC Benedict Cumberbatch version also wins every fistfight he's in and can easily outdive exploding bombs. You may also remember in the new Star Trek movies wherein Mr. Spock uses his Vulcan logic to form plans like, hey, hold my beer, I'm gonna beat the shit out of that dude.
Can she take this?
If a character in a Hollywood film is only brilliant, they're not the hero, they're some obnoxious sidekick nerd. Jude Law's Dr. Watson is automatically a secondary character because while he's smart, his left jab is laughably slow. Support characters in major franchises like Mission Impossible, Jason Bourne, and Star Trek, typically played by the Simon Peggs and Seth Greens of the world, suck at fighting and will inevitably spend the whole movie hacking computers and commenting on how much more money they could be making in the private sector. The only other line of work for intelligent movie characters is full-on villainy. Virtually every major Bond villain, enemy of the Avengers, or twisted post-apocalyptic politician employs a never-ending supply of beefy henchmen to make up for their lack of a strong Power Squad scheme. Lex Luthor tricks Superman into fighting Batman because Lex's only superpower is reading books like so fast. And when his plan is foiled by the power of mutual mother-loving, Luthor builds an evil demon creature to fight on his behalf, and when that doesn't work, Luthor just quietly goes to jail because he can barely bench the bar. But what does this mean for real men? That you can only be worthwhile if you're as physically imposing as you are good at standardized tests? Intelligence alone should be enough to prove your worth, even if your standing backflip kick could use some work.
You go, girl!
Or honestly, if you can do a standing backflip, then society should treasure you. You don't need both. Something society should completely do away with, though? Male sexual assault jokes. Jokes about female violations are still circulating out there, though not as many as there were a few years ago, but it was always rare to see a movie play a violent male on female sexual assault for laughs. But if the victim is a dude, and especially if they're doing time, wow, seems like there's nothing funnier. It's a reprehensible nightmare of a thing, the worst possible thing happening in the worst possible circumstances, yet Hollywood cannot get enough of prison violation jokes. To show you how easygoing we are about it, jokes about it are so acceptable they show up in SpongeBob.
Look, doubloons! Don't drop them.
They refer to it in Naked Gun and Guardians of the Galaxy, and they hang the entire plot of Get Hard on it.
Hope you brought your Costco card, because you're about to get dick in bulk.
This is so dark.
The unspoken implication is that these victims deserve it.
Hope you like prison food and penis.
But really? Is that what we're going with? That our civilized society has built a justice system in which one of the punishments for selling weed or stealing a car is the possibility of being violated? Even if Congress codified that into law, and even if we decided that assault is a suitable punishment for tax evasion or whatever, it would still be super weird to joke about, right?